What's good? Welcome back to Fashion is Art. And today we're going to talk about Nike hitting someone else with yet another lawsuit, this time Lululemon. And we're going to point out why they're hitting Lulu with this suit, what Nike's bigger plan is, and why they're just suing everybody in the first month of the year. But before we get started, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff, and let's get into it. So Nike is suing Lululemon, claiming that some of the athleisure brand's new running shoes infringe on Nike's intellectual property. In a lawsuit filed January 30th in New York District Court, Nike alleged that Lululemon's Charge Feel, Bliss Feel, and Strong Feel sneakers all infringe on patents related to Nike's Flyknit technology. Specifically, Nike's claims are directed at how the shoes are manufactured and the textiles that are used. Now, in short, what this means is that the Flyknit, the material that's on these shoes, very similar to Nike's running shoes. In fact, let me give you an example here. These are my Nike running shoes. As you can see, they're the Nike Lunar Tempo 2. They've got this little knitted material fabric on the side of them. That's what Lululemon is getting sued over. So, just for context, that's what they mean. Now, is it a little bit ridiculous? Yeah. Can they really have authority over a material on the side of the shoe? We're gonna find out. But this is what the other side had to say. You know, they said that like Lululemon's camp is saying the lawsuit's unjustified for the same reason, kind of how I showed you with the shoe. Now, with that in mind, why is Nike even suing them? Like, why would they even go through all this? Well, essentially, Nike's plan, at least from it looks like when you read over the lawsuit in itself and kind of what they're looking for, is to take Lululemon, Bape, and any sort of custom shoe designer completely off the market. You notice in this lawsuit, they're not detailing like what sum of money they're really looking for, because the real goal is to take those shoes off the market completely. Their own little cease and desist, if you will. Now, with that, it kind of begs the question, like, why Nike is going to such these extremes to completely wipe out their competitors. It makes sense from just a basic, me versus you type of thing, but there's a lot more that goes into it than just that. For starters, we're going to look at Nike's legal team. And Nike is just really geared for court in general. They've got 19 lawyers on their team just for the Nike stuff. What I mean by that is they recently, I believe in last September, after the acquisition of Converse, they hired a new general counsel to oversee any lawsuits or any copyright infringements, anything that would come from their Converse shoes, the Chuck Taylors, like anything of that nature. So, let's say you're getting fed up with getting your ass sued all the time by Nike for the custom Air Force Ones you're making. And you switch over to the Converse. Now you're pretty likely to get hit with a lawsuit on that too, a copyright infringement on that as well. So Nike's really just covering all the bases and trying to make themselves, again, the one and only. They have, like I mentioned, those 19 lawyers are not spread across the company. They're specifically inside the Nike entity. So anyone coming for like the Jordan 1s, any copies of the Nike Air Force Ones, I believe the lawyers involved in the lawsuit with Bape are among those 19. Now, what about the money? Like, how much are these lawyers making? And it looks like they're making double what the average lawyer would make. Average lawyers coming in at about $99,000 a year, or a salary wise, based off what Glassdoor says. And the Nike lawyers are getting paid $200,000. So yeah, double. Why they're getting paid double? It's because they're doing a lot more, I would say, than a lot of other lawyers may be participating in for other companies. And Nike's working their lawyers furiously into the ground. You can tell they're just lawsuit here, lawsuit there. They got to use them for everything. So with that, you can definitely see like why they're paying the big bucks for these lawyers and how important it is for them to keep that push. And if any lawyers are watching this, they're hiring 3 right now. So their team is about to get a lot deeper. With all this, you might be wondering, okay, who's next? Well, one person I already pointed out is going to be anyone who's making custom Converse shoes is gonna get uh hit at some point. You know, maybe not a lower level if you're just making them for your friends and family, of course not. But I mean, once these companies start getting a little bigger, you get 40 to 50K followers on Instagram. You could expect a letter from Nike from their new general. I can see them going back after the sneaker NFTs. There's been releases of other NFT brands recently in other areas of the world. That so it's still something that's prominent, even though NFTs may not be universally as popular as they were last year. Still something that Nike is going to come for, just regardless. And of course, just nickel and dime, anybody and anybody in between. I don't see any, and I did some research on this to find any like outlandish examples of sneaker companies that are copying Nike, even the high up ones. I don't see anything that just kind of just comes out to me, but you never know. They're hiring these lawyers to work day and night to find something. So I can imagine that at some point we're going to see someone else come to the light, whether it's another Stock X type of lawsuit, you know, coming after Grailed or something, or maybe Adidas slips up and they have a design that's a little too close to Nike, and Nike can at least get them in a courtroom. So Nike, they really know what they have. They know what they have, and they know that this is a slow time. The start of the year for the majority of companies, majority of businesses, you kind of notice that there is a slow time. Everyone's like looking over their budgets and figuring out what they need to spend, what they don't need to spend on. Companies are cutting back. We've seen a lot of lawsuits already. With all those changes, you've got to think, okay, what can we do to get us through this period? You know, with January being a little slower, February a little slower, we haven't really heard of any big buzz that's been coming from Nike in general. A lot of the stuff is going to take place near the curtail end of the year. Last year, obviously, there were a lot of big releases. There were shoes released through from Virgil. A lot of those off-white collaborations, Jordan 4s, Jordan 1s, those white cements came out, and that made some noise. But at the same time, what are we getting right now? So Nike, again, they're paying attention to this, and they're like, okay, in this period of time, the way that we can make the most money without having a new shoe that's out, right, is to take out a lot of this competition. So they're going to nail down this competition. They're going to formulate some new ideas, and then they'll come out with something a little later on in the year that will get that buzz back up and ideally give them a monopoly on the marketplace, which, in my opinion, is really what they're going for, because Nike doesn't want to compete with anybody besides Adidas. And the consensus is that it's, you know, checks over stripes, right? So I think they're fine with only having to go to war with Adidas and with no other companies taking up their market share. Even though how little it may be from Lululemon or Bape, that's not as popular in Japan, which is its mainstay, as it was before. So it's not a legit competitor, but it's still money that's going back into Nike's pocket. So eliminating this comp as much as possible is really the main goal that Nike has here. That's why all these lawsuits are coming out, in my opinion. That's why they're making this push that they are so quickly, and they're coming out with them kind of boom, boom, boom at the same time sort of thing. I'd say Nike's probably in 5 different courtrooms right now. So you want to keep that in mind. From what we can learn from this is that Nike's going to be taking control. So just keep a lookout for Nike. We're going to keep our eyes open for some of the new companies that are going to come into light, maybe some sort of replacements that might not be from Nike. Maybe some other company will have a original silhouette that they can use to start launching something off, because at this point, you know, it's looking a little barren and not many companies are going to want to take that risk. So that's all I have for this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video on the way out, and comment down below your favorite Nike shoe. And we'll see you in the next one. I'm out. These my dollars make it hurt.